Hey guys, I thought I'd jump on and do a little video about Divi defaults, global defaults. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, um, and I'm finally doing it. So let's do it. So I'm going to jump in to share my screen and show you guys how to set up your Divi website like in advance. So it'll make it a lot easier by using the default. So this is a new ability that came out like a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And honestly, I didn't really get it until recently. So now I can show you guys um, what I'm getting on my end anyway. So, okay, before I started, what you want to do is make sure that you have like some headings set up, you have a brand map of your colors, your fonts, your images, all that stuff's going to make it a lot easier to do. It's not going to make sense to do this unless you do have a existing style. So I've created 4 headings here that we're going to use, and some title, some body text. Also, I found a button style that I like that I want to use for example. So we're going to use this button style. So I'm going to use this as an example. Before I do any like new website, I like to peruse like the Elegant Themes layouts. They have tons of options, and I just like to go see and check out different button styles and check out different layouts. I always do that before I get started for inspiration. So we're going to use that one. So that's important to have before you do this, because you will be playing around and you will spend a gazillion million years trying to do this and tweaking and tweaking. Trust me, I've done it. So it's good to have that set up beforehand. Okay, so now I'm in my WordPress backend, and let's create a new page. Let's use this template, the massage therapy one. So let's just do global test here. Use the Divi builder. Oh, what's going on there? Why is that prompting? Sure. And let's use a premium layout. Let's use the massage therapy. A little sneak peek of a project I'm working on right now in the background. What are we saying? We are doing massage therapy. Let's do the landing page. Use this layout. I'm just going to go in the back end and turn off the navigation for now. Well, once this is uploaded. Also, I'm sitting on my floor right now because the lighting was so bad in my bed that I was like, okay, this is not working for me. The lighting situation was pretty bad. So I thought I'd move around a little bit. Okay, so let's just save a draft of this. I'm just gonna go back in here. Yeah, okay, let's just. What is going on with this guy? It's a little confused tonight, my friends. WordPress is a little confused, or maybe I am. Okay, so let's just publish this as private, so only I can see it. And then I'm just going to refresh this page. Okay. So I'm just going to create a new, like to use the global defaults. I'm just going to go and create, you can do it anytime, but just for this, I'm just going to go and create a whole new blank section. And let's just like delete everything I don't need. So I'm just going to keep that section for the button references. Delete everything else. Okay, so I'm just going to create a row, and we're going to get started with a text block. So this is like the most important part. Usually what I have been doing is setting up the headings and the text and usually the buttons. So those are like the most common ones you're going to use throughout your website, really. So those are the most important ones. So instead of going into design text and heading text, we're going to go over this cool little button on the right hand side, edit global and text default. So this is going to edit it for the entire website. So if you have like multiple websites, like I use this as a test domain for like a gazillion websites, you might not want to change this because it will change everything. So let's look back on our Canva document here. And I chose this font because I think it's super pretty. I've been looking at a lot of fonts. Actually, I was in the middle of creating a new font blog post / email. I'm all about fonts lately, but on my to-do list, halfway done. But I found this font that I really think is super pretty. It's called Belza. I might be pronouncing that wrong. All right, so I think this is super pretty, so let's use that. And then we're gonna set our weight. This one actually comes in regular and bold, it says, but the bold is just like some of the bold. Here, let me just like flip this back actually, yes, because I forgot a step. Let's just set up some headings so we can actually see what we're doing. That would be really cool. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and then let's go in here, set this up. Oh, that font is just amazing, guys. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, we've got 4 headings. You can have up to 6. I think 4 is fine, unless you're like, I don't know, unless you're really going deep in it, but I don't think you need that many. 4 is fine. And okay, back to heading text. We went into the vortex of our global defaults. So like, as I'm saying, there's a bold option, but it's actually not really. Just added like a stroke around it. It's not legit. Anyway, whatever. So we're setting our heading 1 globally here, and so I have it here. I'm gonna set this. So what I'm not gonna do is like set the alignment and stuff like that. I actually don't even care about the color. I set to whatever color I want, because this is gonna change from like your main color. Like you could set it up as like your main website color, but this might switch to like a white or an off-white if it's on a background. So this can change. So it doesn't really matter what you set it up as, but probably want to set it up as your main website color actually. And then the text size for this, for heading 1, it really depends on what your on what size you really want for heading. But heading, I would say heading 1, let's just see 1. That's humongous. That's a little bit too big. Let's do 100. Yeah, I think it depends on how much writing you're gonna have in this first banner. So your heading ones are really sort of reserved for that first banner on your page. Little tip, you don't want to like use too many heading 1s. You only want to use it once on the page, because Google will get mad at you and hurt your like search rankings if you do that. So little tip, don't just use heading 1 once. It is heading 1 for a reason. It's number 1, stays 1. So let's do 100. Really, this is kind of up to you, but I'd say 100 is, it depends how much writing's going up here. Like you have a super long freaking sentence that you probably shouldn't have anyway for your heading. That's going to be too big. And it also depends on your font size. Honestly, it's like 100 pixels for this font could be like totally tiny in a different one. So you have to, it's subjective, but use these anyway. And then I like to go into, really nice to get this organized on tablet and phone as well. So on tablet, I usually bring it down just a little bit. Phone, bring it down quite a bit. Let's bring it to, let's do 40 on phone here. Yeah, I'd say 42. I don't know why, 42. I bring it down quite a bit on phone because the screens, even though you have this nice big area for your mobile, like this looks nice, like people actually have like 300 pixel phones. Oh, I better charge my battery. So this gets broken a lot. Like when I'm doing my own website stuff, like I'm always like, oh well, it looked fine on there, but when you really look at tiny screens, it doesn't work. So I usually bring the phone text down quite a bit. It solves a lot of problems. 100 pixels is not going to work on your phone. Hells no. Okay, so we have that set up. Letter space, don't need this. This is fine. Fine, fine, fine. Line height. That's fine. We'll probably mess with that one in the other headings. Anyway, that's fine. Anything else I don't really need to set up. All the stuff is a little bit more individual to the design anyway, so that's fine. It's actually not a lot of work. So we're done that one. Heading 2. So, oh wait, before I forget, I should get my charger. BRB 1 sec. I'm bundled up in my blanket too because it's really cold. It's like the first freezing day of November. Not fun. Okay. Heading 2. So when choosing your headings as well, you can mix them up. I wouldn't go past like very max 3 headings. I like to use 2, maybe even 1. Just like, honestly, you could just do different sizes of the same one and you're cool. Like if you have more of a minimal style, go for it. But you can probably do up to 3. Do not go past 3. Too many. Way too many. Oh, font overwhelm. Also, it slows down your website if you use too many fonts. So it's lots of good reasons not to go crazy on the fonts. Plus, it's super inconsistent. Okay, so next font is Lato Bold. So I am switching this up. So in your heading 2s, this one's going to be like uppercase and a little bit of a different look. So let's go Lato. We are going to do uppercase. We want to use the bold. This is actually the right. It's actually the right bold. Also, this has letter spacing, so let's set that up. Let's take a look. I don't need that open. It's a little. I can probably go down to 3. Like, I also see people like, if you can't read it, like that's too much, guys. Like, don't go too crazy. I say like maybe up to, for letter spacing, going up to maybe 12. If you're feeling extra fancy, extra super fancy. And let's just find a nice blue here. Again, if you're switching this up a lot, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think, oh yeah, size, important. So text size, let's go. And you know what? I do find like you'll set these up and then as you start using through your website, you might want to change them. So just remember to go to that global. When you do make the change it in the global versus just changing it in the individual text thing, because you want to be consistent. You want to have that consistent size. Just makes your website look more polished. Generally speaking, getting that professional look. Very important. Too big. Want this to be at least noticeable. There's like a design trick I remember from school, or not a trick, but like kind of like a saying or whatever. It's like if it's too close, like if it should be noticeably different. like having a font size that's just a little bit off, there's no point. You might as well make it noticeably bigger, noticeably smaller. Or it just looks rough. All right, so we have that one set up. Let's jump over to heading 3. I didn't save that one for some reason. I also like this one too, Belfair. So pretty. Super pretty, excited to talk about it. Also, okay, now I'm starting to see, like, may want to change this line height a little bit. I do like this sizing. I like how it's like, looks very consistently, like it's going down maybe a third of the size. I like the sizing happening here. Oh, this is also on the phone. Maybe that's why. Yeah, this is tiny IRL. Okay. So let's just see if we can get a nice, I'm kind of like looking at it. Yeah, trying to get more of like a third. A little bit bigger than that. Nice. I think that's good. And then this one, I'm going to leave the color, and then let me just change the line height here. Oh no, I think I'm okay with the line height. The line height really just changes the spacing in between everything. If you find a little crunch, I do find a little crunch. I really am. I'm gonna change that to 1.3, and I'm also gonna change this one to 1.3 as well. Okay, and then let's jump over to our friend at 4, and same deal. I'm gonna give this one because it's like kind of like, okay, this one's like, okay, you kind of are a title, but you don't really count, but I guess you can. So I'm gonna give this like a little bit, actually let's go black, but let's give it like a little bit of like, bring this down a little bit to like 80%. So it's like kind of fading off, like it's important, but you're not that important, H4, you know? Okay. Also, it's smaller than the text, which is a big no-no. So I'm like, okay, what are you doing, Sarah? It has to be, right, 21, perfect. Also, another thing too is like the font option. So there's like, you can do EM, you'll see sometimes it's PX, sometimes it's EM, which is making this ginormous. Sometimes there's W or VW, which is visual width. I've played around with these thinking that they might look better on mobile and you wouldn't have to change them up so much, but honestly, I didn't notice difference, so I'm sticking with my pixels until someone educates me on why I should change. Okay, that is done. Next up, we have our text. Let's change this to our Leto. Font size wise, I think 14, 15, 16, I'd say up to 18 point is good on desktop size. And for tablets and phone, I don't like to make it too much smaller. Like I'll go as small as 14 on a phone. That's good. Because you don't want to make it too tiny because people can't read it, right? And on their phone, like you can make things smaller, but you do want people able to read your text. So don't want to go too crazy. Yeah, so that's good. I'm happy with that. Looking nice. Oh, one more thing is setting up your link colors, which I really like. So let's set up the links. You can set up your also bulleted lists and quotes, which is kind of cool. Actually, I never even thought about doing that. And we'll come back to it at the end. I think it automatically, even if it's set to default, the link font, I think we'll go automatically to what's in here. And let's go and change that color. B2 dubs, you should have like a consistent color for your links. Like try not to change it up too much just for usability standards. Link size, this is all good. Keeping it simple. Let me try this block quote. I don't even know, I haven't even tried this one before. Let's just make this huge and see how that looks. All right, sure. Okay, so we are done. And now we go back or out of the vortex and we are back in make sure I'm just like the top of my head. Lovely. Okay. Right. What are we doing now? Oh yeah, I want to show you. Yeah, so let's like make a link so we can just preview that. Let's put a hashtag. That looks good. And then let's add a quote because I didn't even think about it. Okay, quote, back quote. Oh, interesting. Quote. Cool. Okay, well, how do I change? I need to know how to change that little quotey thingy. This is really good too. So if you're designing a website for a client and then they are going in and they're adding their own blog posts and you want to make sure things don't look super hitty. This is a good way to do that. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Back quote, border. Wait, border color. What is this? There it is. Okay. Recent blue. Cool. I'm into it. I like it. We've got some nice styles set up. I'm happy with it. Okay, great. So now we've got some nice styles. Honestly, when you're done, you can just delete this. You can just delete this whole block and it will be saved because every new text block you create will look exactly like this. Life is awesome. Life is easy and simple and awesome. Okay, so that's that one. Next up is the button. So I want my buttons to look like this, kinda. So I'm just gonna right click it and go to, here's a big thing that I notice I do a lot is I right click stuff and there's so many freaking options. It goes down past my screen. My laptop's not huge, so just, divi problems. I'm gonna go down to make styles default. It's like, are you sure? I am sure. There's also a back button if you ever change your global styles and you're like, no, what did I do? Okay, so now that I saved that, let's create a new button. I don't want it exactly like this. Obviously, it's not the right font or anything, but look, that looks so nice. I love it. Okay, so I like everything. I just obviously need to change some colors and I need to change the font. Border color, let's do a nice blue. Okay, whatever. And then let's use this one. I kind of want to use Lato. I think for buttons, you don't want to, like, if you're using kind of a creative font, like, you don't want to go too crazy with it. Also, very important, make sure that your spacing between the letters is the same. That's another like consistency thing, like that takes your website from like amateur to beginner, to pro level really, which is interesting because this is 1p or 1 pixel. This was set up to 3 pixels. So you kind of have to use your own discretion here because if it's using a smaller icon, a smaller font, sometimes you need to like use your own visual eyes. You need to use your visual eyes, guys. You need to use your eyeballs and kind of make that judgment because this is definitely, I think you can go point here. Let's say 1.2. Yeah. You want to make sure it's consistent because it was way too big before. It didn't match that. It was like way too long. You want to get that polished design look in there. All right, this looks great. And then I actually was going to do this right in here, but I forgot, but that's okay because now I can just save it and just, here we go. Oh, come on now. And I can go to make styles default and do that. Or what I could have done is just go over to this global thingy and made the changes in there. So 2 ways to kind of do that. I think it's a little easier to remember because I can totally see myself forgetting to do that personally, to go back and go make styles default. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And let's say you have like pretty much everything I want to do. I can just easily just go and go make styles default. So every new website that you're building, like get your styles set up first. You're going to save a lot of time. Um, it's just going to be easier to do it. And then let's say you have, let's just go and click. Let's say we wanted all of these. Maybe we designed a bunch of these sections on the website and then we want to change everything. It's just super easy because let's say I want to make these all pink background. I would just have to go right click and go make styles default. Yes. And now these are all pink. So it's just nice that you can be like, oh, I changed my mind. Don't have to change every single freaking page on my website. So that's awesome. It's just it's a nice thing. And look, my button is updated. How beautiful. How wonderful. It'd be kind of cool to just see, what's interesting, this didn't change. What heading? Oh, is this a heading 6? I don't get this. Sometimes, no, it's a heading 2. Interesting. Did not, I wonder if let's see what happens if I go right click and then make styles default here. No, this is being hit. Make styles default. Yes. Didn't change that. Interesting. Huh. All right. Anyway, that's how you do that. It was a long time coming. That was a long time of me not knowing, understanding it at all. So now I do, and it's definitely really useful. I'm creating a website right now, and it's a lot easier for sure. You're definitely saving a lot of time doing that. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I will see you next time in the next training. Again, I hinted at that little blog about fonts. Hopefully we'll get that out soon. Lots of cool fonts. I have so much font love to share with you guys. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.